What's up? What's poppin', everybody?
Hello, motherfucker.
It's your girl Twilight, and I got a treat for you today. Something that I have been talking to my supporters about for a while. And I love the fact that there are other people out there that are spiritually in tune enough to recognize this. And baby, I want to let you know, no topic is off limits. So what we're talking about today is ASAP Rocky and Rihanna. And I know some black folks is going to get in their feelings from the get-go and be like, don't nobody better talk bad about ASAP Rocky and Rihanna, because that's when I lose it.
I'm bad about Miss Jenkins. You better say I'm bad about Miss Jenkins, because I'll go crazy. That's when I'll lose it.
Well, I got to tell you, baby, today we're going to talk about it. Why? Because you need to know certain things that you may not have ever been taught before, that nobody may have had the vocabulary or the words or even the insight to tell you how to move as a star seed in this world, especially when it comes to dating and friendship and relationships. A lot of times when you are a star seed, you generate your own energy from within. When you can generate your own energy from within, you are the person that comes with what the kids say, aura. Aura. And if you have aura, if you have a vibe, if you have a light, that is much more than just a feeling. That is the ability to help people along the way. See, some people have that two-dimensional popularity, the good looks, the charisma, they're good manipulators, whatever the case may be. But some people have a light within and can generate their own energy. An individual that can generate your own energy, to be honest with you, you might be slightly awkward. You might not be the best dressed, whatever the case may be. But when people come into your life, male or female, you tend to amplify their position.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Because nobody ever told you how potent and powerful and important your light is. You likely attract users, narcissists, individuals who are enamored with you initially, but it's almost like they try to devalue and degrade you throughout the relationship and then somehow even steal your light at the end.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay.
So they try to destiny swap with you, and it's super freaking weird. But we have to examine these things when we see them. A lot of us are picking up on a little intuition when it comes to ASAP Rocky and Rihanna. It's her energy and her vibe. It's not the same. And we're taking notice of that. I personally said something when she showed up at the trial with her kids to try to help ASAP Rocky get off with his one particular situation with whoever that boy was that he was, getting into it with, and he pulled a gun on him, that whole situation. And I was like, okay, she's rescuing him.
And leaps for joy straight into the arms of the superstar singer after a jury finds him not guilty in his gun assault trial. With his feet flying up in the air, the pair embrace while supporters cheer.
Calm down, calm down.
The judge has to call on everyone to quiet down. Outside the Los Angeles courthouse, more chaos as the celebrity couple is mobbed by cameras. Rihanna finally has enough of the shouting crowd and throws out her hand to silence them. During the 3-week trial, Rihanna showed up at least 5 times to court, even bringing their 2 baby boys into the courtroom during closing arguments. Legal experts say her presence had a big impact on the jury.
Having one of the world's biggest pop stars, entrepreneurs, girl bosses in the courtroom with her children had to have some impact on the jurors. The reality is stars matter.
Okay, noted. I said, man, I don't think that's a good idea. I understand the father of your children. I understand that you got pull and you got, presence and aura and connections. But sis, in these situations, why is he still hanging out with knuckleheads? For me, that's the question that came to mind. That is the real answer to the problem. Not the fact that she can support him, show up, and help dig him out of a hole, but the fact that he shouldn't have put the family in the position to be in that hole in the first place. I'm going to take a look at this video, and y'all give me y'all opinion. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
So what happens is
she meets a free spirit of a young man. And how they click and connect is based on commonality. What's the commonality? Their roots. They have a shared commonality in their roots.
So the situation is, most people just want to feel seen. Most people just want to feel seen. And a lot of times when you are, say, first generation wealth, you've kind of surpassed the wildest dreams of your family and your family structure and upbringing, whether it is mentally, emotionally, or financially. What ends up happening to you is you end up feeling isolated. You end up feeling alone. And though people either revere you or they can't stand your guts, which is two extremes, you still don't feel understood. Even if you have the individuals in your life who actually are there, who revere you, that's not being understood. That's not being related to. That's being pedestalized. And people who pedestalize you, if you know anything about having that type of light and aura, you know that pedestalization, that admiration can become envy very, very quickly. I imagine to some extent, Rihanna was experiencing that, and she really wanted somebody for herself.
In the form of a man. Now, this young woman has been around the world when it comes to all of the many different dating escapades that she's indulged in. She's had all kinds of experiences from low to mid-tier to high tier in terms of the hierarchy of the society. She has dated all kinds of people. So she has been exposed to men from all different kinds of tax brackets in many different worlds. So just maybe she just wanted somebody that quote unquote got her. Maybe she wanted a person who understood her, but then also felt like a friend to her, where there wasn't so much pressure to feel like she was in a tied down relationship initially. And then just maybe she wanted the fire, the passion, and the desire that came along with it as well. So maybe it was like a friends with benefits type of situation initially. Who knows? However, one thing that she probably did not bank on is being so free, getting with someone who appeared to be so free, and then getting caught up in the web of adrenaline rush and dopamine that type of dynamic has a tendency to provide. And before you know it, you've fallen. And a woman who was once self-proclaimed free becomes a caged bird. And a lot of it comes from not reading the fine print of darkness. What is the fine print of darkness? That man's character. Because even if the man is fun and happy-go-lucky and he is adoring her and talking about how fine she is and how beautiful she is and how much he just loves being in her presence, and no matter how familiar he feels and close to home he feels and even free and understanding, it does not change that this man has always been very extremely insensitive to women. There are so much character issues with this individual as it relates to him breaking down women. And it is that insensitivity that is rooted in a level of cruelty in the character of a man, which makes that type of man very dominant, toxic, feminine, and makes him very cruel when he does not get the things that he wants, when he has gotten what he wants, and he doesn't necessarily need you anymore. See, a lot of women think that they're different somehow. That man, when he's insensitive to other women and when he's cruel to other women, somehow she's so different.
Now, what I want to say to that is that I know a lot of women, traditionally, we get caught up with wanting to be the special one. Wanting to be the special one so bad. Matter of fact, I would say that women want to be the special one more than they even want the damn man. They want to be the special one. They see the behavior that the man has exhibited towards other women. But you want to be that one, the one pick of the litter. And I think that it becomes an obsession sometimes. It low-key becomes an obsession. And I can attest to that in my younger years when I didn't know no better. But as you grow, you realize that's a triangulation game. That's a triangulation game. And it's something that we do to ourselves as well. We put it in our head that we got to be the special one. Honey, just be the most well taken care of one. Worry about that. Don't worry about being the special one. Be the one who is the most well taken care of. That is what you should aim for. The whole thing about being special is nothing more than an ego boost. It's two-dimensional. It's not really sustainable. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Take these men's character at face value. Women have this thought that once he finds everything he's looking for, that's going to be eradicated. And men think this too. No, character is character, is character, is character. So ultimately, if he's treating other women with disdain and cruelty, eventually, how long do you think it's going to take before he treats you with disdain and cruelty?
Maybe she's in a different tax bracket or in a better social standing than those women that he was insensitively speaking about. And she just somehow thinks that she is different. But that's not true. A man that is flawed in character is a man that is flawed in character. You're not going to change him. All he's going to do is put on a more grander and impressive performance until he gets what he wants. And that insensitive and cruel man is going to still be there, especially when he has you in his grips, where there is either marriage involved or children involved or some type of business tie involved. Whatever the tie or the bind and the yoke is, that is what he's going to use as a weapon against that woman. Now, here's the thing, that the woman that makes a decision to be with a man like this, or some people would even say a warlock like this, had an agreement with that man to share her light.
SWV said, use your heart and not your mind. No, baby, use your mind and not your heart. Thank you.
Marriage involved or children involved or some type of business tie involved, whatever the tie or the bind and the yoke is, that is what he's going to use as a weapon against that woman. Now, here's the thing, that the woman that makes a decision to be with a man like this, or some people would even say a warlock like this, had an agreement with that man to share her light. And this is why when you are a woman who has a bright light, it is very important that you do not allow a man to borrow your light. Even if you like his personality, even if you think he's charming, even if that man gets you or provides passion for you, it does not matter. When you allow a man to borrow your light, especially with a dynamic where there is an obvious gap in the hierarchy, you have to understand he's not going to pay it back. The way that he's going to pay you back is with humiliation, it's going to be with constant disrespect, and it's going to be with devaluation.
Exactly. But then another thing I wanted to talk about is the toxic femininity. A lot of these men are in their toxic femininity, okay? And what it is probably the worst version of what a woman can be, which is dishonest, manipulative, deceitful, very much so a succubus kind of spirit, very much so seductive and reactive and a little bit unhinged. And, all of that comes in the form of what we know in the colloquial term as a YN, the behavior of a YN. And the behavior of a YN, they'd be like, oh, these men were raised without their fathers. These men were raised without their fathers. This is the reason why they act like women. They act like women. Well, no, they don't act like women, because women don't act like that. Toxic feminine energies who are either dealing with some form of narcissism or some form of, what's that word? Histrionic disorder are the women that act like that. In which case, if you don't get the help you need, obviously you're going to be toxic. So that's not them acting like women. That is them who are emotionally dysregulated, dependent upon women for their emotional regulation, who are in turn wounded and not getting any real help. I wouldn't recommend booking an appointment with Dr. Bryant, though. Okay? Don't book an appointment with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, okay? Because who knows what you might get. I'm just kidding.
Light, especially with a dynamic where there is an obvious gap in the hierarchy. You have to understand he's not going to pay it back. The way that he's going to pay you back is with humiliation, it's going to be with constant disrespect, and it's going to be with devaluation. And I hate to say it, it is what you signed up for. Just because you can make sense out of darkness does not mean that you come into covenant and make an agreement with it. When you agree to loan some of your light out, when you agree to be a part of the dark underworld with a person, when you agree to go into bloodline covenant with a person, you have to understand that there is no fairness in darkness.
So what I want to say in this regard to a warlock and an agreement, a covenant, if you will. A lot of women do offer up their light as a covenant. You do offer up your light as a bargaining tool, a bargaining chip. And I don't know if it's something that we do subconsciously, but it's something that we're doing. When you offer to, serve a man in terms of, housework, cooking, cleaning, giving support and endless love, and there's like no marriage covenant on the table. Now, listen, as far as Rihanna is concerned, I wouldn't even put that on the table because of their finances, okay? But in a regular woman situation, because I do want to note that, regular earning woman situation, it is a level up for you to get the ring and the marriage, okay, with the servitude that you're doing. Your servitude towards a man is not just some nothing burger that you're doing and it don't matter. You are actually giving of yourself. You're giving of your feminine essence. And what is he giving you in return? A trip to Mattress City? A trip to Pound Town? If that's all you're getting in return for your service and your servitude, a trip to Pound Town and your nails done, you're losing, right? You're losing. And so what a lot of women do is they offer this up as a tool, as a bargaining chip to say, hey, choose me. Hey, pick me. Hey, marry me. And you do that. And unfortunately, what that tends to do is that tends to make a lot of men, especially men who are simply not developed enough to actually step up and be a husband, it just emboldens them to believe that they don't ever have to be a husband and they will continue to get the same results. So this covenant is like almost like a petition for the man to stay with them. It's almost like, hey, listen, I'll give you my light. I'll help you grow and prosper and live a life that you would never even live if you stick with me. If you stick with me. And it comes from a place of desperation. It comes from a place of fear. And any woman can feel that, even Riri.
And that there is no fairness in darkness. You're going to have to understand that there is no fairness in darkness. When you end up meeting a man that is so familiar in spirit to you, it is a catalyst. This is going to be an opportunity to break you down to ground zero for you to build yourself up from ground zero. Because a lot of this has nothing to do with the man, but everything to do with you as a woman. Because for a woman to loan her light out to a man, make an agreement to be a part of dark covenants with said man, and then try to have a traditional and conventional situation and not think that you're not going to have to pay for the bind and the yoke that comes along with that, we would be very foolish to think that. There is no fairness in darkness. And just because a man is being chummy with you today, it does not change the insensitivity and the toxic femininity that he has displayed to other women in the past. The character is flawed and is still there. And he's going to be on his best behavior until he gets you binded up, yoked up, and tied up enough to where it is going to be very hard for you to get him out of your sacred space or out of your energy. And it's no victims here. It was an agreement. But unfortunately, when it comes to darkness, many women do not read the fine print.
Yes, and we don't know these people, of course, but that's kind of how I felt when I looked at the Halle Bailey and DDG situation. Yeah, DDG got more money, but she had more connections. She was a Disney princess, so it really was like her light was shining beyond him, who was a streamer and a D-list rapper. And I mean, the guy's done well for himself, but doing well for yourself and being adored by the world is two different things. DDG was definitely, and it still is not definitely, adored by the world. He got his stance. He didn't turn a lot of people against her, but look how ensnared he had to get her. When she got pregnant, he wouldn't keep his mouth shut, and she's a very private person. He was always keeping up a lot of calamity, trying to create viral moments, incident with the jacket and returning it, and all of this type of, nonsense that Halle Bailey had never been a part of. And so the volatile nature of their relationship was one of conquest, and you could see that in real time. And he utilized the baby to control her. And so there's no fairness in darkness is what's being said here. It's, when you got to understand that sometimes these guys will create life with you, create a child with you just to control you, They will do an insurmountable amount of absurd things just to control you. And you would think, why would anybody want to go through all that trouble just to control me? He could easily have somebody else. Boom. I bring you back to my argument on a starseed. If you are a starseed, legit, you got a light and an aura within you that people like to absorb. They like to siphon from. People will try to force you into a box to make it seem like you're crazy, you're unstable. They will literally intentionally try to attack your internal stability just because of how unemotionally regulated they are, and how much they see a certain level of strength and power within you. See, the power we're talking about, the two-dimensional being wants power over others, people, control, manipulation, that's what they lust for. But the spiritual person carries their aura with them. They generate their own light within. That's actually real power. Because you're not taking it from somebody. You're not stomping on somebody's head. You walk in the room and you galvanize the attention, or you galvanize the energy just by your presence being in the room. That is real power. You don't have to diss somebody. You don't have to make somebody feel small. You don't have to cause chaos. You don't have to, attack anybody. You just doing you, be having people agitated. So that is why I tell you, guys, you have to learn to live as a starseed. And a couple of things that you need to know is that living as a starseed is a bit more isolated. Two, if you've always been a starseed, you've probably been kind of isolated and ostracized unless you was doing some low frequency shit and people felt like, okay, you cool because you do low frequency shit like me. No, but that when you start talking about deep things and the stars and astronomy and light and energy, people start looking at you like you got 3, 4, 5 heads. Okay. And you're used to people trying to set you up, trying to devalue you, degrade you, and you might have some resentment and some contempt that you need to work through. Personally, I say take the resentment and the contempt. Okay. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to get rid of it. Just realize that it's a lot of weak bitches around you. And there's always going to be a lot of weak bitches around you trying to attack your energy and your vibe because they cannot find a stable identity within themselves. Take comfort in that. That's the real revenge. Bitch, you're going to be bouncing around from personality to personality your entire life, trying to find who you are, tricking people, manipulating people. You must be exhausted, ho. But guess what? I'm good over here. Take comfort in that. Take comfort in that. So that's what it is. So you will be more isolated. You will have some resentment and some contempt that you need to transmute out of your system. You will have to be more careful when you are dating. And really look at if you are dating somebody that generates their own energy from within. You have to be careful not to show too much of yourself in the beginning, because when you show too much of yourself in the beginning, motherfuckers start plotting on you. Be careful with that. So, in my opinion, let me know what you think about what this video was saying in the comments. Then at the end of the day, when it comes to Rihanna, honestly, I think it's, for me, I know she just had a child, but I think it's the weight gain and not getting it off. It's the kind of the shade that I heard about with Tyler, that energy didn't really serve well. Her house being somebody trying to, do something to her house, like trying to shoot up her house or some shit. Like I read about that. And then also it was like kind of seeing her like totally divert away from music, which I'm sure she has very good reasons for. But come on, she's queen of Fenty. I kind of feel like there's something there. There's some there. And I just don't know what it is when it comes to that whole music thing. We all got our speculations, but I don't know exactly what it is. And just, I kind of feel like when I see a woman, I want to see the women looking like Sierra. I want to see them body still banging, body still tea, looking good, looking bright, man, looking good. Like, to me, that's when you got successful energy. Like, we don't know these people from Adam, mind you. But to me, that's when it seems like you have a successful matching and pairing with your light and his light. In fact, for the most part, ladies, his light should shine brighter than yours. That's going to be hard to find, far and few in between. We'll keep talking about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.
It is a lesson of a lifetime. Whatever you do not face and whatever you run from, it will find you on the run. Whatever you do not face and whatever you try to run from, it will find you on the run. Satan has a very crafty way of sending familiar spirits to a woman who has been on the run, running away from unhealed childhood wounds, seeking for something, longing for passion, longing for love, only to be presented with a humbling lesson of a lifetime.